welcome to our webinar on avoiding plagiarism. Remember that when you finish the webinar, if you would like any kind of help, we are available for assistance in the Learning Commons. We're open 7 days a week. You can make an appointment online, call us, or come in for an appointment. So our goals this morning are to recognize what plagiarism is and know some strategies for writing without plagiarizing. So before we begin, you might want to think a little bit about these 5 questions. Would you need to cite these? Would you cite a sentence that you copy word for word from a book or website? Would you cite an idea from a book or website that you rephrase in your own words? Would you think you need to cite an idea from a book or website that you incorporate into your own ideas in a paragraph? How about a fact or hypothesis that is common knowledge to most educated people? Would you need to cite a picture, graph, or diagram that you reproduce or copy from a book or website? We'll be talking about each one of these as we go through this webinar. Notice that I cited at the bottom of the slide where I got this information from. So this is plagiarism. Anytime a person turns in someone else's work as his or her own, that's plagiarism. It includes copying words or ideas from someone else without giving credit, or failing to put copied text in quotation marks, even if it's just a phrase. It's also giving incorrect information about the source of a quotation. So mixing up your citation with your different quotation or paraphrase would be plagiarism. Changing words but copying the sentence structure or the idea without giving credit is also plagiarism. And finally, using so many words or ideas from a source that it makes up the majority of your work, whether you give credit or not, is also plagiarism. So what must be cited in a paper? Quotations, opinions, and predictions, whether they're directly quoted or paraphrased. That means even if you put them in your own words, you have to cite them. Statistics derived from the original author. Another author's theories or hypotheses. Another author's direct experimental methods or results. Another author's specialized research proceedings or findings. A case study, or any visuals that you do not create yourself, even if you modified the visuals. So how do we prevent plagiarism? One thing is to make sure that you understand the assignment. You'll save yourself a lot of frustration if you know what the assignment is. Read the directions, annotate it, create a list of questions that you can ask your instructor. Because no matter how wonderful the assignment that you turn in is, if it does not meet all the requirements, you are not going to do well in the assignment. Make sure that you pay very careful attention to how many different sources that you are supposed to use. Make sure you allow yourself plenty of time. Research takes a lot of time, and that's even before you begin writing. So make sure that you don't wait until the assignment is due very soon before you start. Research wisely. A great place to go is the College of DuPage Library. And you can also go up to the library physically and ask the librarian for help. They will help you find things in the databases and help you make sure that you have very good sources. Follow the instructor's directions for attribution. That means many times they will tell you right in their assignment whether they want you to use APA and MLA. They're very similar, and yet they have some specific little differences, so make sure you follow those. There are manuals online, and a great place to go is the Purdue OWL site, or come in for help in the Learning Commons. Make sure that you know that this required information is needed on every single source that you use. For an in-text citation, you need to know who, when, and where. You need to know the name of the author or authors, the publication date, if you are using APA citations, and the page number where you found it. In a reference at the end of the paper, you would need to know the author, the title, the publication date, and publication information as a minimum. Of course, be sure to check whether you're using MLA or APA for exactly which one to use. Another important thing is to take good notes and include that source information in your notation. So here's an example on this slide. It starts off by naming where the information came from. It's got some little notes, and then it has down at the bottom, this page shows you what a sample attribution might look like in a paper. A way to keep track of your notes is to use index cards, and that might seem a little old-fashioned, but you can also create index cards using your computer. Keeping track of your sources is so very important that sometimes an old-fashioned tool works best. Another thing is to use something like Cornell Notes, where you put the source information at the top, put your key points in the column to the left, your notes in the column to the right, and then, especially if you need to turn in an annotated bibliography, a summary of your source at the bottom. The next thing to do to avoid plagiarism is to organize the body of your paper. Each of your body paragraphs should have a topic sentence, which is your claim. It should use evidence, which is usually something that comes from one of your sources, and is followed by an in-text citation, and then an explanation of the evidence. Something else that's very helpful is a citation tool. If you go to the College two-page library site, you will find Noodlebib is available to you right there, and you can have it do it in either APA or MLA. For those of you who like to use Google Docs, there is a research tool in Google Docs that will help you also cite your source if you have used an online source. There is a citation tool in Word called References, and you can set that up for either APA, MLA, and it will help you organize your references. As you're writing, you need to add those in-text citations so that you can keep track. It's extremely difficult to match your citations to all of your sources after you've written the whole paper. So just very quickly as you write, put in that citation. And both Google Docs and Word, those tools will help you do that. When you have finished your paper and written your bibliography page, which is called Works Cited in MLA or References in APA, make sure that you compare all of your in-text citations with your bibliography page. Each idea in your paper has to have an in-text citation, and each source used in the body of your paper must be listed on your references or works cited page. I take a minute to go through and check each one of them off as I'm proofreading my paper. If I have an extra source listed on my bibliography, I take it out. If I find that I have used an in-text citation that isn't on my bibliography, I add it. Finally, double check your paper, and you can make an appointment to come into the writing, reading, and speech assistance area to have someone help you with that, although we are here to help you with any portion of your paper writing. So now that I go to the last part and we think through that quiz that you just did at the beginning, a sentence that you copy word for word from a book or website, yes, needs to be cited. So does an idea from a book or website that you rephrase in your own words. So does an idea from a book or website that you incorporate in your own ideas in a paragraph. However, if a fact or hypothesis that is very common knowledge, most educated people know this, you do not need to cite that. But anytime you use a picture or graph that you reproduced or copied from somewhere, even if you modify it, needs to have a citation. So thank you very much, and I hope you are successful with writing your paper with no plagiarism.